All right, guys, it's Crow Transit. Currently, Cam is calling me. We're gonna get some insight on what's going on in SF. Hello.
Yo, what up, man?
Yo, what's up, dude?
Just chilling.
Chill. Yeah, I bet. So forewarning, I figured out the casting. So we're currently recording your audio into the thing, so you're being recorded. Just FYI, but uh, we'll just jump straight into it. The whole reason I wanted to call is we can post something and just kind of let everyone know what's going on your side of town. So you're kind of like in the epicenter of the West Coast COVID virus. So can you give us a little brief rundown on what the news
Yeah.
was today, how you're feeling about it, and etc. But we can start one by one. I know you're going to make it quick, so we can just do this real quick too. It's up to you.
Yo, can you hear me? You're kind of breaking up a little bit.
Am I? Can you hear me?
Now I can hear. There's like some feedback or something going on.
Is there?
Can,
Okay, hold on. Let me
can,
try to.
can you hear it?
Yeah, I can totally hear you fine.
Oh, you can hear me fine.
Yeah.
Oh, now I can hear you pretty good. There's something like an underlying like.
There might be a little whoosh. I'm still trying to figure out how to use this whole setup that I got. Can you
Yeah,
hear?
it sounds like there's like you're chilling by a river.
Okay. Can you hear me better when I'm further away?
I can hear you good, like you are right there. Like
Okay.
you're clear. Before you weren't as clear.
Okay. Perfect. I'll
So.
just sit back here.
What? So what? I'm sorry, I kind of missed the first part of what you were saying there. It's kind of breaking out.
Yeah. So what I was saying is you are currently in the West Coast epicenter. You know, SF and Seattle are probably getting hit the hardest on the West Coast. So wanted you to be able to give a brief rundown of what's going on in the Bay Area right now, what news you guys got, and kind of what the rundown is to start.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's it's kind of crazy. You know, everybody is in panic mode as far as I can see. Everyone's rushing and buying everything up and assuming for the worst, and uh, it's kind of crazy to be around. People are people are afraid. You can see it, you can feel it. And today, our mayor, London Breed, she announced that we were going to have a citywide like lockdown, essentially. Um, Basically, what that means for us in San Francisco is that as of midnight tonight, we're essentially supposed to stay inside. We're not supposed to go out for 3 weeks until April 7th. So not like anything that isn't necessary, like you shouldn't go out. Um,
And what's deemed necessary for you guys to be able to justify going
well, right now, I guess from what I heard, like they're going to keep supermarkets open. So like if you need to get out and get food, um, but yeah, it's other than that, like they want you to stay in. They're trying to like keep it contained. More and more people have been getting the virus here in San Francisco, so and it just kind of kept growing in the entire Bay Area, like all 6 counties that make up the Bay Area. Um, we've been hit pretty hard. I know Seattle, like you mentioned, has been hit really hard, and we've been hit really hard. And um, I'm sure you read about the cruise ship that was docked off the coast here.
Yeah,
Uh,
totally.
with
The company I
with
work
pe-
for is completely based off. All of our stores are based off of cruise ship ports, and now that they're not sailing for up to 2 months, like it's not good. It's not looking good for us, for the company I work for,
yeah,
or for me. So yeah. So that cruise ship dock, is anyone able to get off, or are they just still quarantined on the boat, but just on shore now?
they docked in Oakland. San Francisco didn't allow them or grant them permission to dock in our city. So they basically, for those of you that don't know, Oakland is literally on the other side of the bay. It's on the east side of the bay from us. So Oakland allowed them to dock, and they let everyone off there, and then everyone on the boat immediately went into a quarantine. They sent them to, I think, 2 different military areas nearby to, like, you know, have them go through the process of the 2-week quarantine. But yeah, so that was pretty gnarly. And like, we would see, you know, the ship, like, you could see the ship. I live right here by the beach, and you could see the fucking ship out there. Like, it's kind of crazy, just knowing that.
You were saying you could see the ship when you were filming that promo for the downhill?
Yeah, when we were filming the promo for the downhill, you could see the ship out there. And it's kind of crazy, you know? Like, even when we filmed that promo, which was last weekend, like, we were kind of like, it wasn't, like, things weren't what they are now. You know, we filmed that promo. We were pretty sure, like, you know, we were excited for that race. And now the reality with San Francisco and the entire Bay Area being under lockdown, like, you know, we're probably not going to have that race now. So,
I was wondering that. I was actually wondering that. But, I mean,
yeah. So it's probably not going to happen. Probably, I got to talk to Garcia and confirm, but I don't see it happening. It just seems like things are progressively getting worse and worse by the day. But yeah, I actually pulled up this thing, and it just kind of talking about the quarantine or the lockdown, quote unquote, we have here in San Francisco. And it says residents will be allowed to take a walk, exercise, take a pet out to use the bathroom as long as people remain at least 6 feet away from others who are not a member of your household. And it looks like essential government services, including fire, police, transit, and healthcare, will also continue to operate. Homeless people are not subject to the order, but are encouraged to seek shelter. So this is an interesting one with homeless people, especially here in San Francisco. We have a pretty gnarly history with mental illness and addiction in San Francisco, and it's constantly on display. I know every city has it to a degree, but if you've ever been to San Francisco, like, you know what it's like here. It's unlike anywhere else you've ever been. And, you know, a lot of these people are hooked on heroin, or, you know, they're addicted. They're addicts. And with the city going into a shutdown, you know that a lot of these people aren't going to be able to get their normal fix.
Exactly.
And so I'm kind of, like, curious to see how the city handles that, in the sense of, like, you know, someone waking up out of a bender to this, you know, blocked off city, and suddenly they can't get their fix like they used to. I mean, a lot of those people rely on random passerbyers for change to acquire the money to go and get their shit wherever they get it from. And I'm sure the people they get shit from are going to be kind of locked down. It won't be as easy for them to get. And don't get me wrong, I'm not, you know, it's not like I'm being like, oh, I feel so bad for all the heroin addicts in the city, but I think it's a pretty,
it's interesting.
Like, it's interesting to me because, you know, I see it every day. I see people strung out on the streets, and
there's a whole dynamic that's going to happen because of this. And I was actually thinking, like, you know, SF is going to set the pace, right? This, like, the lockdown in SF is just going to trickle down to lockdowns in every city in the U.S., I think. Who knows? But I wouldn't be surprised if that's the route it goes.
Yeah, no, it's we'll see how it goes for us. You know, I know other cities in the world are doing the same thing. I think it's necessary. I think we need to, like, you know, it's spreading. More people are being affected by it, and we need to kind of, like, prevent it from spreading more and give it some time. But I also think, like, there are 2 viruses, essentially. One that is the coronavirus, and the other is the virus that is just the media and the fear it's instilling in people. I think people are, you know, I think it's important to react. I think it's important to be ready. I think we need to acknowledge what's happening. Obviously, you can't just not acknowledge it.
Yeah.
You know, do what you need to do to be ready, and make sure you and your loved ones and your pets are like in a situation where you can kind of sustain yourselves for 2 to 3 to 4 weeks or however long things end up kind of being shut down. But I think, you know, we don't have control over cities that shut down. We don't have control over what Trump does as far as like a nationwide shutdown. What we do have control over is our own mental sanity, our minds, you know. So I think it's really important to just keep your head on your shoulders and you know, be aware of what's happening, but you know, don't feed into all these crazy ideas that are going on. Like I think it's human nature to fear what we don't know. And in the act of not knowing, we often build assumptions of what we think it is or what it could be. And, you know, we can be our own worst enemy. And the impact of not being, you know, totally mentally healthy in this situation, in the sense of not letting all this talk get to you. I think it's really important, man. You gotta keep your head on your shoulders. That's the only thing you got right now. That's the only thing you have control of in this moment. You know, we got to abide by the rules. We got to, you know, listen to what they're trying to tell us to do. There's no way around it, you know, but we can choose to be a little more like, it's almost like it's just like there's an overload of information going on. And with social media, everyone puts up anything they want. People with toilet paper, people with, oh, it's a war tactic. You know, I've heard so many things in the last couple of days.
It's all clickbait, right? When it really comes down to it. But like what you're saying is, Train and I think you know Train. He prints with me here, but we were talking about like turbulence on an aircraft, and he's like, I just love the turbulence, and I'm like, I don't understand why. He's like, because you can't do anything about it, so you can either enjoy it, like enjoy the vibrations, or you can keep going. And him and I talked on the phone right before I talked with you, and we were talking about pretty much, you know, like we're just along for the ride at this point. Like it doesn't matter what we think or what we do. Like there are gonna be certain standards that are set, so we can, you know, move past all this, and those standards are pretty much turbulence. That being said, you can sit and moan and groan and be worried about the turbulence that you're feeling, or you can just sit back and know the planes withstand. Like it's built to like withstand these kind of things. So you just got to sit back and let it do its thing, and you know it's gonna, like, hopefully it'll be a smooth landing when it comes down to it, if that makes sense.
I agree, man. No, I think we just, you know, it is what it is. There's not much we can do about it at this point other than to be ready. And whatever that means to you, wherever you are, whoever you're with, whatever it means for you guys to be ready as a whole, or maybe you're just by yourself, like you and your dog, your cat, like just be ready and look out for yours, and try to keep your head on your shoulders. And if you got to stay in your apartment or your house for an extended period of time, like, you know, try to create some sort of healthy routine within that, you know, try to stay positive and be aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, create like some sort of balance in this kind of, you know, crazy time we're experiencing right now. And it's escalating very, very fast. You know, every day it's something new. And I'm on a couple group threads with a bunch of different people, and I'm seeing my friends react and kind of go at it. And some of the talk, you know, like I got some friends who went to Powwow, and they're kind of coming back. And, you know, that on a side note, you know, I was supposed to go to Powwow. I decided not to go. I didn't think it was a very sensible thing for me to do personally.
I was just thinking that, because you had called me before and told me you were worried about what if the city goes into lockdown, you wouldn't be able to get back in. And sure enough, the city goes into lockdown. Like, you probably would have just made it anyways, but you would have just made it. Who knows if it was a day earlier, what the outcome would have been.
Yeah, man. I just, you know, I literally sat down. Like, I decided not to go hours before my flight. And I basically, Tom Heiser was not going, and my buddy Ariel Saroon in New York, who's part of Rollerblade, me and him were kind of on the same page, bouncing back and forth. Like, should we go? Should we not go? So I was, I reached out to a lot of people to kind of, you included, to just kind of get some perspective and, see what other people thought. And what it really boiled down to is like, I sat down and I thought to myself, is this a necessity?
Yeah.
Is this a need or a want? It's 100% a want. I want to be there. I want to experience this thing with my friends that I've been looking forward to, but there's something happening that's much bigger than my wants at this point, and I need to realize what's necessary in this moment. And I just felt that like me going there wasn't a necessity, and I needed to be at home with my girlfriend, and my family was concerned. So, it's just important to put them at ease during this time. And another big thing is like, yeah, I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm not really worried about getting sick, but I'm not really trying to spread it around and make matters worse.
I think carrying it is something people need to worry more about. There's a lot of people that just aren't going to show symptoms, that are just a vessel for this virus, that are going to give it to others.
Yeah, and I think there's a very I'm not worried about this, like, people thing, or sick, weak people thing. And that's just not, think of it as you will, but personally, I just don't think that's a good way to look at it. Like, we gotta look at this as a whole and how it affects us as a whole, because if we don't, it's just going to continue to spread. And before you know it, like, yeah, sure, you're young, you might not feel it, whatever, you're healthy, you might have it and not even show symptoms, but what about your parents or your grandparents or, other people that you love may be impacted? And they may be impacted by people who have a similar mindset as those who are thinking like, oh, this isn't anything, I'm young, I'll get over it. Well, if that continues to be a trend in a way of people are going about thinking about this, it's not a good thing. It's just going to make matters worse. And honestly, it's kind of a selfish way to think. I don't know. It's crazy. I think we're going to get over this, but it's going to get a little gnarlier before we see some better days. And I think just kind of cooperating and working together as a whole, as a community, as a nation, as a world, is necessary. That is a need. That is not that is needs and wants. That is definitely a fucking need right now.
Yeah.
And Powwow, like, half of me is kind of like, man, those motherfuckers are badass. They fucking ran that shit in the midst of all this chaos. They made it work. They had their moments of ups and downs, that they did it. But also part of me is kind of like, it was a little maybe lightweight irresponsible. No, it was irresponsible to do that. And I think people were like thinking, I was at Powwow, and it was, it was like you kind of had a nice little escape before coming back to reality. And
totally. I mean, from what I understand, they had to do it like pretty underground too. That's why there wasn't any media coming from it.
Yeah, they had the blackout.
I think from what I understand, I don't even know if I should be saying this, but who knows who will even listen to this little recording that we're doing. But from what I hear, the event was supposed to be canceled. So it ended up being like a kind of a big session where there was like an underlying contest there.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. And, I wasn't there, so I guess I can't really speak on it. I do feel like, and I get where those guys are coming from. It's been a long time coming to get the Powwow back, and they put a lot of time and energy, and I'm sure their own money into it to see it happen. And, they wanted to see it go down, and it's just the timing was unfortunate, and I wish I would have been there, but
I think you did the right thing. I don't think you got to wish for that. I think you did the right thing. I think everyone that made their own decisions made the right thing. Whether they went there and had a great time, they did the right thing. Whether they didn't go because they were concerned, I think they did the right thing. I think people are going to do what they want to do, and ultimately, whatever you do at that very moment, whatever you feel is right. When you called me, for instance, and you're like, "What should I do?" or "What do you think?" I was like, "I think you just do, like whatever you want to do. Realistically, whatever you want to do, whatever your gut feeling is right. So if people's gut feelings were, yeah, let's go to Powwow, then for themselves they did the right thing. For you, staying home, you did the right thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it was a tough decision. And, I've never experienced anything like this in my lifetime. I'm 33 years old and I have not, I've never experienced anything like this. So it's kind of like, I'm kind of learning.
I think a lot of us haven't, man. I think all of us haven't. But like I said, I was talking with Train earlier, and I was thinking, man, how crazy is it going to be that this might be something that's like in history books someday? You know what I mean? Where America kind of actually shuts down, for real shuts down. Minus like the Spanish flu and whatever else happened, in 1908 or whatever it was. But this is modern day U.S. and this is modern day. This is a big deal. And everyone's trying to keep it calm and be good, minus like the hoarding and everything else. There's a lot of bad things that are coming from it. But realistically, I think everyone is handling it fairly well.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I think
we'll see how it goes. I know we're just in the beginning. I know that we still have to deal with it for at least 6 months if it's good.
Yeah. And
even then, I have the company I work for today. I was working within the warehouse and not at the corporate office that I'm usually at. But I was talking to the person that manages the warehouses, a girl named Shannon, super cool. And she told me that she has good friends in China and she's been talking to them. And I was like, oh, well, how's everything going out there? And she's like, they're finally slowly going back to normal. But the reason that happened is because China did like a mandatory, shutdown. 2 or 3 week shutdown where like you literally couldn't leave your house. Exactly what's going on in SF right now, where you can only go to the grocery store. They limit the amount of people that were able to physically go to the stores. Hospitals were open, grocery stores were open, etc. And that like really slowed that curve. So I'm kind of wondering if, SF did it first or is doing it first and the rest of the nation's following suit. But even then, I think to myself, airlines like Delta, where SF is a hub, Salt Lake is a hub, Seattle is a hub, and you go like all these planes that are traveling, all these planes that are bringing people in, like, are we going to just end up doing the same thing that SF is doing? And to me, the ultimate answer is yes. It's just a matter of time of when we will be able to do that. And I'm almost ready to get it over with. I'm almost ready to like say, hey, just put me in quarantine, put me on lockdown. Let's get this going. Dude. But realistically, we all have to do it at the same exact time. It can't be like a series of events, like where one state follows another. It has to literally be like everything all at once or nothing at all, at least in my opinion. But who knows?
I agree. I'm thinking, I hope that SF kind of sets the tone, and a lot of, I would hope a lot of major coastal cities kind of follow our lead. But I agree though, man. I think that there should be a full on, quarantine where everyone is just, give it 3 weeks. Keep everyone in their homes. Like maybe you have to bring in the National Guard or the military to make sure to enforce that people are staying in, because there will be people that will not stay in. But like, I think that I think it's necessary. I think we need to, that's the one way I see this not spreading around more and giving those who are affected a chance to heal and to overcome it, and to kind of reduce the numbers of people becoming affected. And I noticed that like fatality rates are kind of getting higher and higher. And I think it's a necessity. I think we should do that. And I'm with you too. I'm kind of, my buddy Danny Mom was like, today, we were all at work, and around noon they all were like, okay, everyone report to your hub. Like San Francisco, for bike messengers, we have a hub, and there's one in Oakland. So we all show up to the hub, and we're all supposed to just stay in there until we receive further instructions. And Danny's just like, you know what? Fuck it. He's like, let's do this shit. Let's fucking go. I'm ready, dude. Let's start this. Let's get it over with. Like he was all jacked up, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, dude, I'm fucking ready too. Like, let's just fucking get it done, dude. Like, I'm sick of the paranoia and the people freaking out and, going in the store. Like, it was crazy with, like, the amount of, like, today I came downtown. We're pretty well stocked. We kind of stocked up a little while ago, but I wanted to pick up some brown rice, because I mixed brown rice in with the dog's food. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get some brown rice just to kind of make sure the dogs got a little extra. And I went to Safeway. I tried to go to Whole Foods at like right around 8 a.m. when they opened, and the fucking line was like all through the store, out the door, and all the way out onto Haight Street.
That's how it is here, dude. That's how it is here.
It
There's
was-
lines everywhere.
it was-
It's nuts. Everything's. I went to the grocery store today just to grab stuff for dinner for tonight. Given my fiance Corey and I are fairly stocked up, but we were kind of like keep thinking of little things that we can do just to like keep these meals going. And I went today, and sure enough, like, dude, these shelves are stocked out. And I went to like, I'm not going to call it the ghetto grocery store because it's not a ghetto grocery store, but it's definitely the least shopped one. And there's not a line at that one, but everything's still gone. You know what I mean? It's an issue.
That's what I did. I went to the kind of grimy Safeway that I know of. I was like, let's see what's around here. And I went, and I was in and out. But, I did that this morning. And then, this afternoon at 1 o'clock, the mayor announced the city shutdown. And my girlfriend was like, oh, you should try and pick up this and that if you can. So I saw Trader Joe's, and I saw there's a line outside of Trader Joe's, like, going around the corner, like all the way onto our main, like Market Street, which is kind of like the main strip downtown in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew people saw that line, like, oh my God, that's the line to get into Trader Joe's. Oh my God, people just assuming. And so I was on my bike, and this dude was coming up to unlock his bike. I was like, hey man, I was like, what's the deal with, like, how long did it take you to get in and out of there? He's like, it's really not bad inside the store. It's actually really chill in the store. He's like, that line is just, they're trying to regulate it so it's not chaos in there. He's like, but I think everybody sees that line and just assumes that line continues all the way through the whole fucking store to like the register. And it was like, and I went, I stood in line for like 5 minutes. I got in there, and it was like the easiest Trader Joe's experience I've ever had. Like, usually that downtown store is fucking slammed like anytime, coronavirus or not. And I got in, they had plenty of shit. I even got some avocados, whatever. Fucking went right up to the checkout line. Didn't have to wait for anybody. Just went right up. They fucking checked out, and like, it was, so that was an interesting thing as well. Is like,
maybe there's some new processes we can work with for grocery shopping going forward with all this.
Totally. But it was so interesting that people, like, even when I was in line, like, people were coming up and taking photos, and they're on the phone like, oh my God, you should see the line at Trader Joe's. And it's just like, humans, like, we just, especially with the dawn of the internet and like social media, like, we assume, we are masters of assumption, like, we'll take a fucking photo. Someone took that photo today of the line at Trader Joe's and probably put some hysterical fucking caption on it, and it's probably circulating right now, the fucking line, the very line I was standing in. But the reality of it is there's a 5-minute line to go into a near empty store that's being regulated by Trader Joe's to prevent what those very people think is happening inside the store. So it's like, again, just a prime example of how we let our minds kind of get the best of us. Sometimes we assume the worst when it doesn't always have to be that way. Again, I think, like, I'm not a fucking doctor or, saying I know what to do or whatever, have the answers, but I would say, just based on experience and just living my life, like, keep your mind right, stay positive, create a routine, keep your mind healthy, and just like, that's the most important thing, mind, body, and soul. Got to keep that shit good, wake up, create a little workout regime, keep your mind and your body stimulated, and maybe don't pick up the phone so much. Get the fuck off Facebook. Like, you run out of toilet paper, use some water. I did it for 6 months in Asia. It actually worked a lot better than toilet paper.
Sure. I do think the silver lining in all of this is if we do go into quarantine, it's almost like doing a hard reset on your computer or your phone. Like, this it seems very crazy right now, but it might, the silver lining might be that it's really good for humanity to just kind of be alone and be amongst themselves and be bored and try to figure out interesting things to do around the house. And, maybe you've needed to clean for a while, or maybe you've had a project you've been kind of pushing off, and and maybe now is the time to just, kind of sit and enjoy yourself and be quiet and have a good time with your surroundings and your, being in your own head, which for a lot of us,
Totally.
uh, transit related,
Difficult.
we're going to be doing a lot of stuff about how to get out of being in your own head. But this is one of those ones where, there are certain times where it's a positive thing to sit and think and to sit and reflect and do whatever. So, we'll see how it goes, but man, wishing you the best of luck in SF.
Yeah.
And thank you for the phone call. First of all, I know, it's a very crazy day for you, but I'm going to post this here shortly, probably tonight. And realistically, what I'd like to do, Cam, if you're available, is just like to touch base and do one of these, every so often, maybe like every couple days or, once a week if you're busy. Or I'm assuming maybe you won't be busy, but who knows? Just so people kind of get like a ground zero almost of kind of what's going on
man.
in the industry, or sorry, not in the industry of your specific location. I think this is like really, you can read the media, you can watch the news, but like hearing something like this from someone that people enjoy, they enjoy your skating, they enjoy, things you do, things that SF does, you're always communicating with, whether it be with or JSF or any of the guys in your city. So to hear like, from someone that they look up to, I think that's more important than watching the media, just to hear something like this. So I think if you have time, this would be something that'd be like really beneficial. Interesting to hear like your perspective and other people's perspective. Maybe next time if you can get out for some reason, or you meet up with someone else, or we can chat and you can just give quick updates. I think people are gonna really enjoy it, and B, if anything else, like what an interesting thing to be able to have logged and look back on and listen to, like that we lived through something like this. I like very scary, but at the same time, like how neat, right?
Yeah, it's it's a trip, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I know, or you texted me earlier. I was kind of like, me and my girlfriend were kind of talking about today and this and that, and I was like, man, I could kind of just chill, do nothing, decompress. But I think you were right. Like, you're like, we should chat sooner or later, and it's like, yeah, why not, man? Like, I got some shit on my mind. I'm at the dawn. I'm at the eve of a citywide shutdown, and yeah, man, I think I'd be happy to reconnect and let you know how things are going. And and one other thing is like, man, like I'm low key, at least for myself, like I'm kind of hyped to just like rest.
Yeah.
I don't really rest. I really suck at it. And like, even when I take time off of work, I'm doing shit. I'm like healing from a fucked up meniscus in my knee. And, so I'm kind of like, wow, I'm actually going to really chill and like, hopefully come out with a really fresh me and feeling really rested. Like I just have been so shitty at truly resting, so I'm kind of looking forward to that.
So are you on break from work? I'm assuming you are on break from work then until the 7th.
So yeah, so what happened? Yeah, so it's basically everything shut down. However, I am working from home. I know that sounds crazy, but I think it probably. So for those who don't know, I'm a bicycle messenger here in San Francisco. I've been doing it for a while. I kind of transitioned into kind of an office messenger hybrid kind of. I do both. I dispatch work, I get work, I assign guys to zones, assign work to guys. I also get out and do shit myself every day. And so my company, we deal with a lot of legal work, stuff that still needs, in this day and age, tangible paper and wet signatures. So that's how we're still rocking and rolling. And also getting around on a bicycle in downtown San Francisco is still the fastest, most efficient way to get around. And because we deal with legal work, the courts are still open. From what I had to stop by the city hall today, they're operating at 25% starting tomorrow. And I stopped at the federal court, and they are operating at 100%. So that means my company's still, we're still operating. We had to let some people go to abide by what's happening. We can't have a full staff of messengers. But because I've been on the crew longer than anybody else, and I'm kind of this weird hybrid position, they consider me essential staff. And so more or less, they're keeping me on standby for anything that comes in.
Yep.
But to break it down, they're just being really nice to me and being like, we know you're going to be out of work, but you can stand by from home and we'll hit you up if we need you. And that's not going to happen. So they're trying to keep me paid out as long as they can is basically what it breaks down to.
Good for them.
So I'm happy about that. So I'm just going to, check in at 9 in the morning and that's it. Be quote unquote available until 5. But more than likely I'm just going to be chilling at the house, hanging with the dogs, hanging with the lady, shooting the bow and arrow out in the backyard. Yeah. Shout out to Nick Swan, helping me out with the bow. It's been a blast. It's going to come in really handy during this time.
Local boy, Nick Swan.
Dude, I'll have all the trick shots in the backyard down by the end of this thing.
He's like 10 minutes away from me. I need to hang out with him actually, yeah. Salt Lake, pretty small city, so. Yeah, no,
I like that guy, man. Swan, he's a great dude. He's part of Rollerblade, rips it on the big wheels, and
so good.
Been fortunate to do some cool shit with him. But anyway, I just it is what it is, kind of embracing it for what it is and not trying to let it get me down, trying to just stay positive and have good intentions and hope that all this shit kind of blows over. And man, I guess we'll see in the next couple of days or next week where we're at. I'd love to chat again, but that's kind of what's happening here in San Francisco.
Right on. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time and calling. Man, pretty crazy what's going on. The world is a weird place right now, but let me keep me posted via text message, and then once maybe if anything develops, we can do another one of these, maybe Saturday or Sunday or whatever day. They're probably all going to blend together here pretty soon with all the time off, and I know that Salt Lake's we're pretty close in route. I'm hearing rumors that we're going the same direction. So that being said, enjoy your time off. Enjoy time with your dogs, enjoy time with your lady, and keep me posted, myself personally, and then let's do another one of these updates. I'm sure people are going to be super pumped just to hear how you're doing, hear, everything that's going on in SF. So let's keep it at least like maybe a once a week thing for the next 3 weeks. I think 3 little 30-minute episodes. I think we're running on 37 right now. Would be super interesting for people to hear, and what a great way to log kind of what's going on and to get updates, like I said earlier, from ground zero and just, the experience. This is, whether it's a good experience or a bad experience, this is an experience. And I think what a great way that we have this technology to be able to communicate with each other and just really bond in these kind of moments and going forward. Let's just keep doing this.
I'm down, man. Yeah, definitely down, and appreciate you reaching out. Not just with this, but in general, man. We've been checking up on each other. I know, I think that's super important. Everyone, keep in touch with the homies, with the family, with the loved ones. Totally. That's gonna help this whole thing, go a little smoother.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Cam, this is public for everyone to hear, but Tori and I did get all the blanks and all the official graphics. I know I've sent you guys kind of everything besides what's official, just to get everyone kind of geared up for the contest they've been in or any public, appearances they've been in. But the graphics will be here this Thursday. So that being said, I will be sending you actual official gear here pretty soon, assuming everyone's still going to be shipping. And honestly, I'll probably do a video log of me getting the graphics in, putting the first couple shirts. And then as well as me going into a studio and taking on white photos of everything to post onto the site. But the site will be live soon. So that's a quick update for everyone that's going to be listening. I know we've had some troubles with the site. Not the site itself, pardon me. The site is going to be fantastic. and something to really keep an eye out for. We had a hiccup with the printer, and that's business from what Tori has told me. Even though I freaked out and had to call Tori, and he had to calm me down. We had a problem with the printer. We had to go with another printer for some of the graphics. But everything is officially going. I'm gonna announce right now, March. Sorry, we were actually. I'm not gonna announce it. Tori and I were talking about either March 27th or April 1st is an April Fool's thing, but I don't know how well April Fool's is gonna go with launching a site. And even then, we totally are expecting that it to be very slow because people are the last thing people want to do is purchase anything right now besides top ramen and cup of noodle and things to get their family by. So Tori and I are like fully aware that it'll be a slow start, but it'll pick up. We'll ride the wave, and
Oh yeah, we'll bounce back.
Totally.
Everything will come back around.
What's unfortunate, Cam? Before I let you go, what's unfortunate is I was looking at flights today. I saw this news story on this local news website called KSL, and they were talking about how millennials are still cashing in on cheap flights. My parents live in Austin, Texas, and I was looking at Austin, Texas. If I left today, like last minute flight, it was $100 round trip on Delta, nonstop.
Damn, dude.
So I looked at SF.
Yeah.
SF, $150 nonstop round trip on Delta, and I'm like, man, what a motherfucker, right? Like someplace I can't even go that I can go hang out with you guys and show face and we can hang out, but maybe some other time. I know from what it sounds like we're gonna be dealing with this till July, best case scenario. So we're in it for the long haul.
I think this is going to be a thing for a while, and it'll be interesting, man. It's totally day by day at this point, but
completely changing. It almost makes it. I mean, in worst case scenario, but best case scenario, it's kind of exciting. I've really enjoyed looking at the news and just checking out the developments, and feel like I'm being in the know, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's great. It's exciting is one way to put it.
In the worst way possible, it's exciting. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
I don't know what the word would be for exciting when something is not good, but just like seeing all the up to date posts. There's something going on every single time.
Oh, dude, everywhere I go, there's people talking about it. It's like the thing. But yeah, man.
Are we supposed to have the Olympics this year too? The Summer Olympics? I could be totally off.
I don't know. You might. I have no idea.
I'd look it up, but I don't want to touch my phone and mess up this recording. Regardless, hey, we're getting off track. Let's get back on track. And back on track would be, thank you so much for the phone call. You can't see me, but I'm giving you the prayer hands. Thank you so much. And yeah, just keep me posted via text, Cam, if you could. Would be slick. I know you're gonna have some downtime. I feel like when I'm texting my boss, it sounds like we're gonna have some downtime too. So that being said, let's just keep it going. Maybe we can do another one of these Friday or Saturday or whatever day. If you have an update and you want to hit me up and go, hey, let's turn on the equipment, we can get one of these going.
Yeah.
Post something up and if actually what we can do. Let me announce this right now. I will post this up on a YouTube just because we are not fully on Spotify yet or any of those. The podcast on Apple podcast catcher. So I'll post it up on YouTube. That being said, I'll have it go from YouTube to the IG and just a link from there. I'll talk to Kevin Little, throw it on BMAG, and what we can do is just have like a list of questions for anyone that has questions for you on the next one, if that works. And that way it'll be like less like banter, and we can like if anyone has like any hard questions that like they want answered or they're curious about, we can just go that route. How's that sound?
Yeah, man, that sounds great. I'm fully with it, and any insight I can give. I mean, I know we're all going through it to some degree, but yeah, man, totally down. I think communication is key right now.
Perfect. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna let you go. Go back to your family. Go back to hanging out. Rest that knee, and let's get together again on one of these in 4 or 5 days.
Sounds good, man.
All right, cool. Hey, thanks so much, Cam. I really appreciate you calling me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for reaching out.
Of course, dude. Take care, man.
All right, you too, man. Peace.
Right, later. All right, gang. I just hung up with Cam. That being said, I know like when I when the phone was ringing when I started this podcast, the phone was already ringing. Cam called me. So we already have two recorded podcasts outside of this one. We have one with myself and Brad Anthony, and we recorded that in Lake Havasu City during Blade Havasu 6. And then we were actually recorded one yesterday with myself, Tori Treeseater, and guests, Train Owens, who's one of the main printers with me here for Transit, as well as Carlos Guzman, who also helps out a ton with the brand. These are, including myself, I'm pretty much behind the scenes. This one, there is no intro music, there is no outro music, there is no anything. I don't think there's any point in that. This is not your typical podcast. This is just kind of like a catch up / what's going on, and we might call it what's going on. Who knows? But anywho, everyone, thanks for listening. If you have any questions, please comment on the link for this video. I'll post its own actual photo. Comment any questions you have for Cam, any questions you have that we might answer through Transit, whether it be what's going on in SF, as far as Transit's related, what's going on with your head, what are you thinking about it, how do you feel about this, are you feeling ups, are you feeling downs, are you feeling confused, are you feeling anxiety, is there any way a question you can ask can be discussed with other people to help get a general idea of how to get through this kind of situation. It is scary. It is new. Most of all, it is new. Like, no one's really dealt with this before, in our time frame. This has clearly been, a pandemic's been dealt with before, clearly beforehand, but let us know. Give a comment, give some feedback, and we'll try to do as much as we can with your questions going forward, not just with Cam, but with anyone else. So, hey, you guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. This is Kirill Brannon with Transit.